Hello and welcome back to another episode of the All Access Podcast. Lane, it's been a while. We haven't recorded one in a minute.
I know, we've got a lot of guests.
Yeah, I know, I love it. But I'm excited to talk today because we are going to recap the 2024 annual report. You guys have been working on this for a really long time, sourcing a lot of great information from your portfolio partners, and now we are presenting it to the world. And so I'd love to hear the process of how this data came to be, and then we'll talk a little bit about the structure. And for you video watchers out there, we have the report actually pulled up so that you can see it. But if you can't see it, go to allaccess.international/annual-reports/2024, and you'll be able to see it there.
Yep.
So Lane, tell us a little bit about how you got a lot of this information, put this report together, and then we'll dive into the structure.
Yeah. So it's all a part of our process. We know this is coming. This is I see it as a fiduciary responsibility to our members to provide this information. It's really for them. And if you're not a member yet, to see why you should join us. But it's our responsibility to them. And so the programs in our portfolio, we sign an MOU, a contract, saying, hey, this is what we will do as funders. This is what we require from you guys. So they know this data is coming. We agree upon what data we're going to be asking for. I checked with them. I usually check with them halfway through the year and go, okay, how are these outputs coming along? We look at that together. And so then at the end of 2024, usually in mid-January, after the teams have already started compiling their data and reviewing it internally, that's when I start meeting with them and reviewing it in real time with them. And so the programs provide this data. We review it with them, and then if we have any questions or concerns, we meet with them, or we get others to take a look at it and go, hey, does this look like right to you? All of it is just trying to make sure it's accurate and real. And luckily, we have strategic plans that we can compare it to say, hey, Water for Good said they were going to do this by these dates. We look at what they did in 2024. Are they making progress towards that? If not, why? And so that's the process.
Awesome. Yeah, I love, as always, we talked a lot about on the show, is the data and the rigor and the analytical, emphasis that you have with your partners. And so it's really cool to see how, hey, we said we were going to do this, and what did we actually do for the whole year? How much money did we spend? What was the impact of that? So it's really cool to see this come together.
It's a lot of work,
Yeah.
Things aren't as black and white as we would hope. I mean, there's a lot of complexity there. There's a lot of different monitoring evaluation processes, even fiscal or calendar years when they measure. Mm-hmm. Not everything's a calendar year when they track data. And so it's a lot of work, but that's our job. So we signed up for it.
It's awesome. Well, so the emphases that you had for this report is telling a lot of stories. And so the report opens up with stories, and then each portfolio partner also has stories associated with the impact that they've made. But you also have an emphasis on the lives you changed this year. So it's the headline on the report is "See the Lives You Changed This Year." So talking to the members of the fund and the kind of impact that they've had, because it is their dollars at work. And so I really love that kind of combination where you've got this story-driven and analytical nature to the report, but also this emphasis on the members, because after all, I mean, it is the members who are driving all of this impact. So it's really cool to see both of those come together.
Yeah, we really went for a Spotify Wrapped style this year. We have a lot of information already on our website that organizations have, put on their annual report, but we just provide it. Members are getting this 4 times a year, quarterly reports. They're getting it pretty live. And man, I read through a ton of annual reports for organizations. Again, part of my job. And it just takes forever. I mean, there's just so much information that I really doubt most owners read all of it. I mean, even just starting with the whole letter from the CEO at the beginning, Brandon, I don't know if you read those, but I just start skipping those because I'm trying to get down to what did they actually do? What did they do that year? And so we designed this, and knowing a lot of our members are millennial and Gen Z, just to be able to get the information they want to learn as fast as they can in a really enjoyable experience. So this is a very different annual report. I mean, report is even a stretch in that it's not a PDF. It's a web page. You experience it. You can do it really quickly. And it's really, I hope, enjoyable. Lots of videos, lots of stories. You can find any information you want to find. Even just the podcast episodes we had last year, articles we wrote that we thought that we liked, and just sharing those. So we had a lot of fun with it. We've gotten a lot of great feedback from members saying they enjoy it. So if you haven't experienced it yet, go experience it. We'll dive into some of it today on the podcast, but go take a look and just dive into the stories.
Awesome. Okay, so we open up with See the Lives You Changed This Year, and we have this beautiful image of Moses Okello in Uganda, who is affiliated with Seed Effect, and this really beautiful story of his experience working with Seed Effect, one of the portfolio partners. And then we've got this line, you were super generous this year. And in 2024, 153 members gave over $500,000 to the All Access Fund, $591,000 to the fund. So talk to me a little bit about the numbers that you guys collated here. So 153 members, over $500,000, granting $502,000 to 9 of the top programs in 14 of the most unreached and impoverished countries in the world. It's amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah, I've been just blown away by our members. Again, we're not a fundraising organization. We just simply sit here, do a lot of research, do a lot of advising, helping people give well with their own giving portfolios, doing this research for them, managing the fund. And people still gave over $500,000 without us really ever, super fundraising for it. So, and what we mean by, when we say member, so what does it mean to be a member? Really anybody can give to the fund. You can give $20 one time to it. But a member is someone who, someone or a family, a business, or even a foundation, as we have, or like an entity that gives at least $1,000 a year and gives regularly. So year to year. That's what we really qualify as a member. And we encourage that, is because it's up to us how much we pull together. Again, we're not a fundraising org, but it's member driven. We drive these numbers, 591,000. But we also want people to take ownership of this and run with it. And $1,000 a year, I mean, we did the math, and any donor, any giving level can participate at that level, but we want people to take it seriously as well. I often travel, and I'm in these contexts that sometimes are very dangerous, and we want people to take that seriously. Of hey, we're in this, we're trying to accomplish these big goals, and so we want people to take it seriously.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the members that you have. Is it, you said, I think mostly millennial and Gen Z, but is it, what's the mix of like individuals, maybe age ranges, maybe like, is it men and women? There's obviously some like corporate members and business partners and things like that, but yeah, give us a quick sketch of who all's in the fund.
Yeah, we have a wide variety. So I would say, as far as head count, most of them are really like you and I, Brandon, because it has been member driven. That's where it started, was just really friends of mine. We're in our early 30s, have a couple kids, or Christian professionals, and that's, as far as headcount, probably the largest majority of members are families, young families, Christian young professionals. And then we have, boomers, Gen X families as well. We have a few businesses. So like I love the guys over at Spires Engineering here in Plano. It's a civil engineering firm. They do a lot of fun stuff, but they're members of the fund. They did a campaign in the fall and raised a bunch of money for our program with Water for Good. And so we have corporate members like that who do like a profit sharing style. So we're really here. I mean, like I said, any donor, any giving level, we want to serve, from even the largest foundations out there, to, hey, I just, graduated college and I want to start giving $90 a month. We love it.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. And so these members are giving all over the world. So you write here, we granted $502,000 to 9 of the top programs in 14 of the most unreached and impoverished countries in the world. So there's a map here. There's places like Chad and Niger, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Burundi, all the way to Pakistan, India, Nepal, and so on. So give us a sketch of like where you guys are serving in these areas with this fund.
Yeah, as we've talked before, anybody can download our entire portfolio evaluation and monitoring process on our website. I mean, we're an open source, so even other philanthropic advisors can go and use it, and we encourage them to. But what we do, when we're focused on extreme spiritual and physical poverty, we have metrics that define that and tell us where the most impoverished and the most unreached places are. And our philosophy is to work in the most unreached and most impoverished places and work backwards from there. And so that's, the map kind of shows that. So what's interesting is for spiritual poverty, it mostly takes us to South and Central Asia, Southeast Asia. And then for extreme physical poverty, it takes you to the Sahel and Sub-Saharan Africa, kind of East Africa. So you can just clearly see that divide there. And that's why we've ended up where we are. And, I get asked, hey, do you guys do anything in the United States? And no, and I hope we never do because of that. Hopefully we're never in a spot where we have to. So, yeah.
Yep. Cool. So moving down, we've got a few stories. So one of the headlines is "You help dads like Moses," and tells a story of where he was an alcoholic, used to drink and beat my wife. He says, "My life wasn't good at all, but hearing the word of God every week during our Saving Spirit meetings with Seed Effect has greatly helped me and my family." And so you get to watch a story, talk about Moses. So that's on the physical poverty side. And then we also have a story where we reach daughters like Sonia on the spiritual poverty side. And she says, "My parents are stuck working at the brick kilns and couldn't afford school. But one day, one of these teams from Big Life started a school near us that I could go to. And it was there that I learned about Jesus for the first time." So you get to hear more of her story. Pretty amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah. The stories, throughout, we just highlighted a couple, and, as a dad with a daughter, those resonated deeply with us, Brandon. And so that's the most fun part about this report are the videos and the stories. All the numbers are there, but the numbers represent, each of those numbers, could be an incredible story if we heard it out.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. There's a headline here. You changed the lives of nearly 16,000 other people too, 15,866 people. So every $32 you gave to help someone out of extreme spiritual or physical poverty. It's just so cool. But yeah, to your point, like those are actual people, it's not just a number.
Right.
That's right. Amazing. And then looked into 1,300 organizations. So you guys have this really rigorous analysis process that you look at organizations across the world they submit a bunch of data to you, and you start whittling those down to the most impactful organizations. So out of 1,300, landed on just a few. And so we've got here pulled up the entire portfolio. And what's cool about this section is it's got a list, like an accordion list, if you will, of each of the portfolio partners, into which you can click and get all the details, like really, detailed numbers about how much money these organizations, received and spent, and the impact that money had over the course of the year. And so the top one, Seed Effect with physical poverty, they're working in Uganda and South Sudan, and granted $98,590. And then it has a bunch of metrics about what that accomplished over the year, as well as some stories from individuals, which is really, really cool. And we've got several more here. So if we scroll down the page, we've just got a ton on the in the portfolio, and you can click in and see all their stories and just the amazing impact. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, it is. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's a lot of information, so we wanted to make it to where people could just click in and see exactly what they wanted to see. So it's all there. You can engage with it as much as you want. Some incredible videos. I mean, we've got a video of a former jihadist who's now a huge disciple maker and church planter in the Middle East, who I got to meet a few months ago in person and in the Middle East. And we have former Hindu priests who are now church planters in South Asia. We have interviews from them, and just some incredible pictures there. But we do a lot, with the numbers to the top. We look into, okay, what did these programs spend? What were their activities? What were their outputs this year? Making sure that they're on track with everything. And so a lot of time went into all of these paragraphs, and a lot of it, is contextualization as well. I mean, a lot of this gets pretty technical, Brandon. So it's kind of our job for the everyday. If you're a CalNet EY in Dallas, how do we convey this information in a really accurate but a really easy to comprehend way? And that takes a lot of time to boil that down in a few sentences. So, but that was the hope here, is anybody can click in and see what they want to see and find the information they want to find.
The term that comes to mind is progressive revelation. If you harken back to your theology classes in seminary. Yeah. But just that idea that, this information can be really overwhelming. But what's really cool is you can click, further and further into the report and find all the information that you want. So if you drop down this one on Big Life, for example, you can read, you get the headline, of course, but then you get the summary paragraph of all the data, and you get a really beautiful video and imagery and things like that. So you could spend probably 2 hours, reading this report and watching all the videos and reading all the articles and podcasts that are associated with it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's really neat.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just I picture like a investment report, you get the kind of the brief, here's how everything's doing. And then you can go, whoa, what's going on there? Click into it and learn. That's what we're going for here.
That's awesome. So speaking of that, like a financial report, one of the latter sections of the report is the 2024 financial summary, which includes every single expense you made throughout the year, which is pretty amazing. I mean, I don't know how many, you're the expert in this field. I don't know how many organizations do that, but I think it's really neat that you literally can click in and see all of the itemized operational expenses, financial statements, the fiscal year Form 990. I mean, you just get this a huge volume of information if you really wanted to vet what you and the team are doing at All Access. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, to date, I haven't found any reason not to do that. The expenses, it's our responsibility to our sponsors of All Access to do that, since they're the one paying for the bills, so the fund can be free to the public. But we want the public, they're trusting us with a lot of these decisions and processes, so it has to be objective and it has to be transparent, and that's our responsibility to them.
That's great. So now we've got toward the end here is favorite conversations last year. So pulling forward a lot of the podcasts that you've had with guests. So you've got Raymond Harris, who is the author of Enduring Wealth, successful businessman in DFW. And then professor at Columbia International University, and David Croteau. And then we've got JD Bauman, who is working with Effective Altruism for Christians and some other organizations to talk about impactful giving and things like that. So you can check out all the different podcasts that you've had throughout the years, some of the most, I guess, popular ones that you've had, which are really cool.
Yeah, these are great conversations and a lot of fun. Raymond's a dear friend and has a great perspective on just kingdom building and using finances to do that. I love his perspective. Highly recommend his book, Enduring Wealth, if you haven't read it. And then our conversation with Dr. Croteau about the tithe, rethinking the tithe. I wrote my white paper in grad school on this, and there was this author out there who kept popping up as a subject matter expert on it, and it was Dr. Croteau. So I was very honored, very, very honored to have him on the podcast. And then JD, who's a dear friend, EA for Christians, Christians for Impact. Man, effective altruism and how it works in this space. Very fascinating conversation. Love JD's perspective there. These are just really fun, insightful conversations. And to be honest, a lot more entertaining podcast guests than I am.
That is not true.
But yeah, these were fun.
Awesome. And then underneath that, we've got the top articles from 2024. And something I've wanted to ask you is the leading one is the greatest adventure of all time. And you talk about this like moonshot speech that JFK gave back in the 60s and how that kind of mission or that drive has affected you. So tell me, I've never asked you this, but I've always been curious, like where did that come from and why is this speech so meaningful for you?
Yeah. Well, it's always been really inspirational to me. So my great uncle, so my grandmother's brother, went to Rice. We don't know for sure, but I remember growing up being told that he was in the stadium. He was there. And then because of that, he became a professor at Rice for a long time, was in astronomy or whatever the right word for that is. But so I've known about this speech for a long time. I've always found it very inspirational. But in that speech, he says that the mission to the moon, the space race, is the greatest adventure of all time, and it deserves the best of all mankind. And I've always thought, no, he's wrong. As a believer, making disciples of all nations and loving our neighbors around the world, joining Jesus and redeeming the world to God and to others, that's the greatest mission of all time, and it does deserve the best of all mankind. And we had a gathering here in Dallas with a bunch of members of our fund last November, and so I just shared that vision with them of, hey, we are not just, this isn't just like a little thing we give a little donations to feel better about ourselves or feel, I don't know, something, but this is an incredible mission. I mean, we're literally joining Jesus in what he's doing. And by God's grace, he's using people like us to be a part of what he's doing. And so this is the greatest adventure of all time. And we shared a video at that gathering that is at the bottom of this article. I encourage people to go. A lot of those stories are also in the annual report as well. So we'll see some of those. But yeah, gets me fired up just thinking about it. But I just compare, I watch a lot of those YouTube videos, like the inspirational. I think there's the one I love is called Space Exploration. If you Google it or YouTube it, it's got like a cover of a glove, but gets me fired up. But I think about this mission we're on when I listen to that. Not the moon, not touch, some rock in space before the Soviets, we think. But this mission that we're on. So there's my answer to why that article.
Yeah, I love that. It makes me think of, so many people talk about colonizing Mars and things like that. And I'm just like, I don't know, we got plenty of stuff going on the Earth that we could tackle before that. But I don't know, maybe I'm naive. But anyway, and then so you got a little explainer on joining the fund and why it's so key for you guys to basically for members to get involved, where it's the top programs that you guys are analyzing these data, consulting the experts, finding the most effective programs, and then 100% of what's raised goes to the field in these vetted programs. And then it's an actively managed account, if you will. So where you monitor these programs and report everything back every 90 days. And if you want to download the 2025 strategy to explain that in more detail, there's a little form there to fill out and get a download. And that concludes the report.
Yeah, so anything on 2024 is pretty much in this report, but I'm really excited about 2025 because so Brian Grasso, who is our advising partner over in Atlanta, they help a lot with the data behind what we do and just 1,300 organizations, reaching out to all of them and getting data from them and encouraging them to go through our analytical process. So Brian helps me a lot with that. But we sat down in January and said, how do we make the most robust, highest level due diligence process in this space for using charitable dollars to accomplish this mission, ending spiritual and physical poverty, accomplishing the Great Commission, Great Commandment. And I feel like we got pretty far. I feel like we built a great process. And so it's in that PDF. Anybody can go and read it. Again, we're open source. So even our the firms that get paid to do this kind of stuff for major donors take and use our stuff. But I feel more confident than ever in our process. We're already finding areas to improve. This is a very complicated space, a lot of nuances, but we're navigating those. And so right now we are reaching out to more organizations, and even ones we have looked at before, encouraging them to go through our analytical process this year and say, hey, even if we looked at you last year, maybe they updated programs or they have a new program in a new place, to let us look under the hood, if you will, and we are we're looking at our own portfolio itself, as we always do, and just saying, hey, we're loyal to whoever can best help those in need. And if we're gonna spend the next few months reviewing all of this and then making a decision in the fall about updating our portfolio for 2026. So we've got a great portfolio right now. We've got 8 programs in there, but we're always looking to grow. And so we're really excited about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else listeners should know about this report and what's coming in 2025, things you've been thinking about?
Well, 2025, we personally, part of our process is consulting experts. I'm looking, last year spent a lot of time looking into education. The year before that, microfinance, unconditional cash transfers, banking. A lot of the world doesn't have access to just simple banking, even savings. Like, where do we put this money? Where can we save this money? Let alone get have an opportunity to participate in the market, invest, or even take loans for businesses. So this year, need to learn more about education, but healthcare, specifically health, in these spaces, nutrition, access to healthcare. I was just looking before this about the indexes out there that measure access to healthcare, and then continue to grow in spiritual poverty, unreached people groups, better ways to measure that with, mapping where churches are, where they aren't, where do people have practical access to the gospel. So I can nerd out a while about all of this, but that's where we're headed. And I just encourage people to go experience, and I use that word specifically experience the annual report, enjoy it. Man, if you're a member and you gave with us, I pray that it's a really enjoyable and rewarding experience for you and what you did. I mean, you can calculate what the per person impact that you personally made. We just had a member of our fund pass away last week by God's grace at the age of 95. And and several of his family members are members of our fund. And so I just shot him a text, said, hey, just to encourage you, I just want to tell you what Ken accomplished, the last few years as a part of our fund.
Wow.
And personally planted about, I think it was 35 churches himself as far as what he gave. And hopefully that was encouragement to him. But yeah, enjoy the report. This is for you. Let us know how we can improve it, what you want to see next year, and what you want to see in our quarterly reports as well.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to dive into this and also to dive into what's coming this year. As a member, I'm always excited about what you guys got cooking. So I'm really excited about this year, and looking forward to, I know you got some stuff on the back burner you're itching to get out into the world. I won't reveal them now, but anyway, I'm really excited about 2025. I think it's going to be awesome. So Lane, thank you for all your hard work and the team's work on putting this together. I know you guys spend a ton of time pouring through this data, adjusting and improving the analytical rigor and working on your partnerships and things like that. So I know it's a ton of work, and I am very grateful, and I know a lot of members are as well. So thank you.
I appreciate it, Brandon. And yeah, we're here to help, advise people, and we want to help people give well. So reach out to us anytime if we can help in any way towards fulfilling our own mission of reaching the unreached and helping a lot of our brothers and sisters around the world that are in need. So
Amen.
We want to help you do that.
Amen. Well, my dude, appreciate you, and we will see you on the next episode.
All right. Thanks, Brandon.